And welcome back to our episode of our program Coffee Break with the Ambassador. Today we are going to visit the Ambassador of Turkey to Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Sander Gürbüz, in his residence. And I must say this is not the permanent residence, this is only temporary because the residence, the official one of the Ambassador of Turkey is now under renovation. However, we will still meet him and discuss more about what people of Indonesia and Turkey have in common. Siang, saya Doni ada janji dengan Pak Dubes. Terima kasih. Bisa? Terima kasih. Your Excellency.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us today.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
Nice to meet you. My wife, Turhan.
Much for our residence.
And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Nice place. So, Excellency.
Yeah. Let's start.
The
Yes.
dining area, as I
Yes.
can see.
That's the,
And I see many also ornaments that is typical to Turkey.
Yes.
Madam?
There are many handcraft and in Turkey, big variety. Some of them are silver, some of them are glasswork, some of them are goldsmith. These are from Turkey. Each one is from the Ottoman, inspired by the Ottoman Empire time.
this is a box we call a box for ferman. Ferman is the decree by the Sultan or the order of the Sultan. It was put inside.
Okay.
And carried by messengers to the one whom you should he wanted it to send.
This
Also
is also a kind of İznik
Turkish ceramic tile, yes,
Yes.
which are very famous. Yeah, yeah.
This color is very important. İznik color, I mean the blue
The blue
color,
light.
very, very important.
Okay, let us see some parts of our temporary residence now.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay.
As you know, this is very interesting, very antique carpet. I want to show there's a really nice two birds. Maybe you can take with camera. And the one bird is here, one bird is there. This is very old and very nice carpet. I like it.
It was Sultan Abdülmecid I from the Ottoman Empire who founded the Heritage Imperial Manufacturer in 1843. He gathered the finest, the best artists and the carpet weavers to produce carpets, fabric, upholstery and curtain to touch up Dolmabahce Palace, which was under construction. Over 140 large carpets and 115 prayer rugs were produced, totaling more than 48,000 square feet. The materials utilized for the heritage carpets are silk, and combinations of wool and cotton, and sometimes gold or silver threads.
This is my daughter and my son. Yes.
Yeah.
Grown up.
Yes, they
Yes.
are grown up.
They
They,
live-
are living in Istanbul.
They are in Turkey.
Yes, in
Yeah.
Turkey. May I mention about this? What are they?
These are vases, right?
Yes, not vases. Actually, we call gulettam. They are container for rose water. Rose water is very important in our culture because before having soft drinks. You know, many years ago we were serving to our guests rose water syrup, and then also we are adding in some dessert rose water. These are the containers of rose water. We always have nice rose water container. Some of them are glass, some of them are silver. Now in these days we are using them as decoration.
As decoration only.
Okay.
Yes.
Very nice.
Ketangguhan tidak hanya milik kaum pria. Banyak wanita tangguh yang menjadi simbol kemajuan bangsa. Cerita menarik dapat kita saksikan dalam pagelaran Wayang Sri Kandi Nekat menampilkan Maudi Kusnaidi, Bambang Pamungkas,
menjadi pemain bola itu
Indra Bekti,
Kipas kepret, kipas kepret.
Desi Novianti, Nia Dinata. Pagelaran Wayang Sri Kandi Nekat Sabtu dan Minggu 17 dan 18 Maret 2018 pukul 23.30 waktu Indonesia Barat di TVRI, saluran pemersatu bangsa. Menghadirkan kabar seputar sepak bola baik dalam maupun luar negeri. Kick Off hadir setiap Rabu pukul 14.30 waktu Indonesia Barat di TVRI, saluran pemersatu bangsa.
Saksikan Dunia dalam Berita bersama saya, Sesko Satrio.
Dan saya, Happy Guritman, setiap Senin sampai Jumat pukul 21 waktu Indonesia Barat. Hanya di
TVRI, saluran pemersatu bangsa. Kami kembali.
So, Excellency, talking about similarities of both nations and the people, of course, there are a number of things that come up and pops up in my mind. For instance, like multi-ethnicity. In a different way and a different dimension, we share similarities in that. How do you see this?
Yes, of course, you are right. Turkey and Indonesia is also similar in that way. Also in Turkey, we have minorities, although 95% is Muslim. We have small minorities of different other religions.
And also different languages are spoken, right?
Different languages, not as many as in Indonesia, but at least different dialects in different parts of Turkey. Of course, Turkey, from the Ottoman Empire time, is a multi-ethnic, a mosaic, as we say, a mosaic of different groups of people. But as Indonesia, we managed also to live together under one roof, respecting our differences, respecting our different backgrounds, different languages, different religions. The important thing, as I am admiring it in Indonesia, is that so many different groups with different languages, ethnic backgrounds can live peacefully together. And this is again another similarity between Indonesia and Turkey.
So we share also one thing which is important in common is being a Muslim. In Indonesia we have the figure of almost or over 80%, in Turkey even more than 90%. And there is a common ground where we also share the culture of Islam together.
Yes.
Can you explain about that more?
Yes, you are right. As mentioned before, we are also a dominantly Muslim country. But we are also proud of one thing, that Turkey is a secular country, a secular Muslim country. And I think together with Indonesia, we are maybe the only two Muslim countries which have also democracy, where democracy and being Muslim can coexist together. Indonesia and Turkey, among I think more than 50 Muslim countries, are the only two countries that prove that democracy and being Muslim, being Islam can live together.
As the people share the same common as Muslims, it is quite common to see this building in both places likewise, mosque. Even Hagia Sophia, which was a Greek Orthodox Christian patriarchal basilica, was later an imperial mosque, but it is now a museum. Even the most famous museum in the country, which is located in Europe and Asia continent. The mosques in Turkey have quite noticeable design along with the history, which were mostly constructed in the Ottoman Empire. Almost every mosque in Turkey was built with numerous marble columns around it. The length of the columns could reach over 15 meters or more, with different kinds of style from one mosque to another.
Yes, to come back to your question, fortunately we had many international famous sportsmen, also sportswomen. Turkey is quite good in football. We have been one time, I think, number 3 in the world, and one of our team, Galatasaray, was European champion, UEFA champion. But also we are quite good in basketball. One Turkish team, Fenerbahce, last year won the European championship in basketball. Sure. We are good in volleyball, especially our women are quite good. Yes, when we say Indonesia and Turkey, what do Turkish people think? First of all, I must say there's a great sympathy for Indonesia in Turkey. Immediately, people think of positive aspects. It's very famous that Indonesian people are very friendly. They don't have any stress.
Always smiling.
Yeah, always smiling. This is very famous in Turkey. And of course, people know also that Indonesia has beautiful places worth to visit. 17,000 islands, 5,000 kilometers from one end to another. And not only Bali, which is of course the most famous place.
So Bali is quite familiar.
Yes, it's very familiar. It's a very famous honeymoon destination for young Turkish couples.
I see.
It's even so famous that soon Turkish airline is considering to fly direct from Istanbul to Denpasar.
Not only to Jakarta.
Yes,
now.
yes. And also talking about Turkish Airlines, it's almost full every night, Istanbul, Jakarta. So we are also thinking to start a second flight every day.
I see.
And in addition, a direct flight to Denpasar. Yes, but as also the Indonesian government is trying to improve the tourism sector, as I mentioned, Indonesia has so many beautiful places. Many other Balis should be created, as it is planned to create at least 10 new Balis in the near future.
Now that you're an ambassador to your country in Jakarta, you have most probably also already traveled throughout Indonesia. Which area do you like most?
Yes, of course, we try to see as much as possible of beautiful Indonesia. And I must say, in this short time we have been here, we have seen already many places in Sumatra, in Java, in Kalimantan. Of course, we have been at least maybe 10 times to Bali, but also Lombok, Gili Islands, Yogyakarta, Bandung, Bogor, Surabaya, Medan, Lake Toba.
As you mentioned, you are going to Makassar this month.
Yes, yes. I am traveling privately, but I am also officially visiting different parts of Indonesia, meeting the governors, mayors, business people, to improve our, especially economic relations. So, but Indonesia is, I think you will need 10, 20 years to see much of Indonesia. But we will try our best. We will try our best.
So far, except of Bali, other places also you find pretty okay?
Yes, of course. I mean, although maybe the infrastructure is in some places not as developed as in Bali, but the nature is the most important thing. The nature, the people, the food in many parts of Indonesia is wonderful. I mean, Lake Toba is different from Papua. Papua is different from Gili Trawangan. Gili Trawangan is different from Surabaya. Surabaya is different from Medan. At every place, there is something to discover. Yogyakarta. At every place, there is something to discover, and we use every opportunity to see different parts of Indonesia.
Which part of Indonesia would you think the people of Turkey would immediately like? Except of Bali, of course.
Yes. Turkish people now, I mean, many of them have seen the traditional touristic destinations in Europe, the known one, and now they are looking for new destinations with nature, where they can see different things. Okay. Because in Europe, for example, wherever you go, it's similar. But in Indonesia, wherever you go, it's different.
Wherever you go,
this is, I think, the point that Indonesia has to work. And in the area of tourism, when we are talking about it, I think it's one of the main sectors where Turkey and Indonesia can work together. Tourism in Turkey is very developed.
Note that Turkey reached its peak at 35 million visitors back in 2014, right?
We have approximately now 35 million visitors per year. Turkey is the 7th most visited country in the world. We have excellent infrastructure, but I must say maybe the most important thing is our personnel, the people that are working in the tourism sector. They are very well educated, very flexible, very hardworking people, and very friendly people, like in Indonesia. Therefore, this is maybe the secret why we attract so many millions of tourists. But also for Indonesians, the numbers, I must say, are...
We are still struggling to get to the 20 million visitors.
Yes, yes. I think now you have about 12. Yeah. But there is a big potential. I mean, I see big potential in tourism in Indonesia. And I am doing also my best. I am not only the Turkish ambassador in Jakarta, but I try to be also like Indonesian ambassador, attracting Turkish people to Indonesia, and also Turkish businessmen to Indonesia, not only for trade but also to invest, because I think if something can be sustainable only if it is in both directions, cultural, tourism, business. Only if it is in both directions, it's sustainable, and this is what I am trying to do.
Ragam informasi mengenai perkembangan pembangunan di seluruh pelosok tanah air kami hadirkan di sini. Indonesia Membangun. Setiap hari pukul 9.30 waktu Indonesia Barat di TVRI, saluran pemersatu bangsa.
tonton TVRI terus ya kan. TVRI sekarang udah milenial, sudah salurannya pemirsa penonton bangsa Indonesia di dalam dan di luar negeri.
Semakin muda, semakin energik, semakin informatif, semakin milenial dan semakin seru. Pokoknya
banyak program yang baru, yang keren-keren, dan tentunya kalian semua akan dihibur oleh TVRI, dan tentunya bisa menjadi referensi buat kalian, pengetahuan tentang budaya, musik, dan segala sesuatu yang berhubungan dengan Indonesia ada di TVRI.
Jadi ini adalah stasiun kita yang dimilikin sama negara ini satu-satunya. Ayo kita dukung, kita tonton terus siaran berkualitas dari TVRI.
TVRI kami kembali.
For you some Turkish food.
Wow, you have prepared a lot.
Turkish cuisine is very rich cuisine. I mean, art of food, big selection. You can find cold dishes and hot dishes, vegetable dishes, and desserts. You know, Turkish desserts are very famous. Now we prepare for you small things.
Yeah, I see rice,
Yes,
just like in our culture, and then
this is lamb shank.
nice.
That we cooked in the oven hours and hours, and then we separate it, and then we put into the aubergine.
Okay.
We fry aubergine. This is hünkâr beğendi. That means sultan like it. Yes.
Oh, really? The
yes,
Sultan's
and then-
favorite food.
Yes, Sultan's favorite food. These are the soups, Turkish soups.
looks
These are
good.
different Turkish salads. We call shepherd salad. We call eggplant salad. This is haydari.
Haydari.
And this is cacık. Also, we don't have many places. Sorry. This is also desserts like baklava, tulumba, and then sütlaç, rice pudding.
Oh, rice pudding.
Rice pudding in oven, yes.
I think baklava is also
Yes, it is
known in
all
Indonesia.
of them are homemade.
Homemade, very important.
Prepare for you. I hope you will like it. We will enjoy.
Everything looks good to me.
Later eating with you. Also, we are preparing for you Turkish tea.
Oh yes,
Turkish
please.
tea is very important in our life. We always eat breakfast with cheese and different kind of olives, honey, jam, with tea.
With tea.
Also, at 5 o'clock we should drink tea, Turkish tea.
Sit down with the
Yes,
family
yes,
and
we
talk.
all- yes.
Very nice.
Okay. Now after showing these things, we have to the time
Okay.
eat for eating. Okay.
McDonald's and other companies, they don't make much.
So, Excellency, my next question would be, is there anything more that the people of Turkey and Indonesia can work on to get closer together?
Of course, there are many things still to do, although the Indonesian-Turkish relations go back to the 16th century, where the Sultan of Aceh asked the Sultan in Istanbul of the Ottoman Empire for help, and our Sultan sent soldiers and military equipment to help Aceh against the Portuguese. Yes, although our relations go back to the 16th century, we have still many things to do, especially to increase our bilateral economic relations. For that, we just started now, after the visit of President Jokowi to Turkey in July.
Just recently.
We just started now our negotiations about a CEPA, or the Free Trade Agreement, and we hope to finalize it soon. This free trade agreement will increase our bilateral economic relations tremendous. But we have also other projects like establishing a Turkish cultural center in Jakarta.
That's interesting.
Yes, because there's a big demand to learn Turkish from the Indonesian side. And also we want to increase the number of our scholarships for Indonesians to study in Turkey. Also there's a big demand to study university or MBA or PhD in Turkey. So we will increase the number of our scholarships. With Turkish Airlines, as I mentioned, we will increase the number of flights. The number of tourists in both directions will increase. We had a big joint economic commission meeting recently where we talked about all the issues between our countries. There are many plans and projects that we want to realize in the near future to even increase our excellent relations even to a further level.
So, Excellency and Madam, thank you so much for having us today. And it was excellent. I tasted the food, which is a combination between Asian and also European flavor.
Yeah.
I loved it very much. And you worked really hard on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you.